the importance of taking payment up front, right? So, this just came up in conversation with me and you, and because you were asking me about this interaction I had with this guy, well, like literally yesterday anyway. So, and yeah, without naming names or company names or anything like that, I'll give you a little bit of a gist. Yeah, he had reached out to me saying that, and he's like an ex ghostwriter, and he's like, he's created a tool for ghostwriters to help them with like commenting for their clients and probably like scheduling and analytics and all that, right? So he reached out and he's like, he had reached out a couple times before, but this time he's like, hey, Mike, I'd even be willing to like pay you for like a call just to get like feedback on the application and stuff, right? So he reached out to me again. I'm like, I thought to myself, yeah, okay, if he's going to pay me, it was just like 150 US dollars, like not a huge amount, but decent for like a half hour call or whatever it might be for sure. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm interested. I'll do it, right? And he sends his like booking link over, and I'm like, oh yeah, when will we take care of the payment, the $150 payment? And he says, when the call is completed. I'm like, I would actually like to request the payment up front. And as a little like backstory, more context, all that, like even Kelsey, who we usually do these calls with, I have another little story, little side tangent, where me and her, we both did this like kind of like almost like a webinar or like a live event on LinkedIn with this company. And I requested $200 from them for the live event, and Kelsey agreed to like $100 with them. And I also said to them I would like payment up front. So they paid me 200. And then for Kelsey, and apparently some of the other speakers on that event, they just stopped responding. So yeah, like it's an actual issue. It's an actual thing that can go wrong, right? And so with this guy who wanted to pay me 150 for like a consultation call and like feedback or whatever, when I said I'd actually like to request payment up front, he's like, "Oh, we don't do that because we've had problems with that, right?" And then he said something like some spiel, like just cookie cutter type response. He's like, that's okay though. If it's a problem, it's probably not a good fit or something. Like it's just like language like that. I can just tell you're running it through ChatGPT or something for your response. Like it's just so canned.
By the way, how do you deal with I think you're really good at that, but how do you deal with like the friction? Like some people don't like the friction of like being like, "Hey, I need the money up front, dude," or whatever. And I need to I need to get a little bit better at that, and I think that's probably putting like a business hat on, or and just maybe not being too thirsty about like the money, even though it's not like earth-shaking money or anything like that. But at the same time, like how do you think about that? Like you're like for people that are not, I guess, because I think that you're definitely you have a personality that not a lot of people have. So like for people that are like more reserves, how do you suggest they do that?
Yeah, so it's definitely something that is like it's something that has been cultivated for sure. Like it's like 9 years, 9 years of doing business online.
Yeah.
Will definitely get like just definitely put you into that like you'll have the practice, you'll have the reps with it. But
Yeah.
even from early on, like my very first like official year in business, I kind of was operating the same way. Like I kind of took to it pretty quick, right? Once I had a few deals under my belt and stuff, like a lot of it was like restaurant like it was back then, it was restaurant stuff and negotiating deals with restaurants, a lot of time even over the DMs, right? Like over Instagram DMs, coming up with like promotional packages for them and stuff, where like me and my buddy, who kind of was almost like an unofficial business partner, right? But we kind of just worked together, like kind of as like independent contractors doing like these promotional packages for restaurants. Yeah, we would always like spin up these sort of like tailored tailored promotional deals for restaurants. So I just got very much in the habit and got a lot of reps, kind of like spinning up these deals, negotiations with restaurants, right? Like, back and forth negotiation. Sometimes they're at the restaurant face to face, sometimes over Instagram DMs, email, all of that, right? So it became almost like second nature. And I think it's a good thing for it to just seem like this is run of the mill. This is just something that you do every day. So when you say something like perfect, yeah, like yeah, let's go ahead, let's go ahead and do that. And then you could say like, and just so you know, I always take payment up front or whatever. Like it's just like as plain as anything, as plain and normal as saying I take my coffee black. Like,
Right.
just like, oh, and by the way, I always take payment up front. That's not like, does that work for you? It's just everyday conversation, and it's just negotiation between two people. But you get a lot more comfortable with that over the years.
I remember on our last call, you mentioned that you use like a pitch deck, which I thought was interesting, and I thought it was pretty smart. But do you find that like some of your sales happen in DMs and they'll close in a DM, and some of them you need the pitch deck, and then other ones it might be a phone call or a video call, or like or how do you have the most success? Is it usually in the pitch deck, or it kind of varies?
So yeah, for ghostwriting clients, it's always a call. I've never sold ghostwriting just like in the DMs, right? Because
Hard.
you're asking at the minimum, like smallest ghostwriting retainer I think I've ever sold was probably like 1250 or something, like, and it was like maybe for a small amount of posts or something, right? But your typical ghostwriting retainer, we're talking like anywhere from 1500 to like $5,000 a month, right? So you're probably not going to be able to sell that just over the DMs.
Right.
And it is a very consultative type service. It's also very like with the whole interview call and all that. It's kind of also a process where you both are going to want to get to know each other a little bit, right? So that's always a sales call. Does that fully answer the question? Like,
Yeah.
what was the other part of it?
Yeah, so it does. It seems like if it's a higher ticket like ghostwriting thing versus like just one of these one-off things that could kind of be handled in a DM. If someone's asking you like, "Hey, look at my software and I'll pay you," maybe that's a quick DM thing. But it sounds like if it's something that's higher ticket, like ghostwriting, they're gonna want some FaceTime and maybe multiple
It,
calls.
it's exactly, and that's exactly where I was going to go with that too. Is that like, yeah, if it's for like promotional posts and stuff like this, um, those usually also come inbound. Um, I've never, well, no, I saw like when I back in my restaurant marketing days, I definitely did some like outbound promotional deals and stuff. But typically stuff like that, when it's just like a couple $100, maybe like even up to about 500, uh, maybe even up to 1,000, and not like a retainer, but more of a one-off sort of deal or package. Those can typically be negotiated in the DMs for sure.
Is ghostwriting since you started gotten harder to close accounts, or is it the same? Would you say with AI increasing and people getting more sophisticated with AI?
Yeah, I think ghostwriting has changed for sure. Has gotten more competitive. I think that the platform changes as well have also played a big factor. It's not even just that ghostwriting has become more saturated and stuff. Like one of the biggest changes, and this is very LinkedIn specific, but it's also kind of applies to Twitter too, because Twitter also changed. Twitter kind of changed before LinkedIn. Like Twitter started changing, then a lot of people went over to LinkedIn, And then eventually, like a year later, LinkedIn changed as well. So it's not just that ghostwriting has changed, become more saturated. There's that. Then there's also AI, but then there's also like algorithm changes.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little. It's definitely gotten more competitive, right? A little bit more competitive. That's not even the biggest one though. I think it's the AI and the algorithm changes.
Yeah.
Because
I was like,
you do like have more founders and CEOs trying out things like Claude and stuff for or ChatGPT even for themselves and kind of just taking a DIY approach, right? And then, but then the algorithm stuff is like it's I guess harder in two different ways. Um, but the biggest one for me is it's harder to use LinkedIn as like a lead source from a strictly content standpoint.
yeah.
Like people who are doing well in ghostwriting now, it seems that they've probably gotten very good at DMs. I
Yeah.
actually told someone else that like literally today. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually got like, I had quite a few conversations through DMs this week through just cold pitching people. Not even pitching, just having conversations with them. And a lot of the times, like what I do is I scrape their profile and I was going after like real estate people and I would look for things on their profile. And then Claude's pretty good at pushing back on like, hey, is there like a story here that we could pitch for like a video? Have you thought about like doing this video on this, I don't know, this multifamily apartment building that you built and sold or whatever, whatever it has on their profile, and I kind of just look it over. But it's interesting because there's a few people that wrote me back this week, and one person was like, I don't want to boast," was his response because he talked about something, some sort of accomplishment that he had in his profile, and I was like, hey, this would be a cool video. He said that. Another person said, I don't see the ROI in video because most of my clients aren't on LinkedIn. So it's just interesting. Some people were like interested, and then other ones you could start seeing like where their beliefs are breaking down. And like I actually messaged that guy back. I was like, hey, like where are your clients actually hanging out? And have you thought about like just sending a link to these people after you've met them with like a video of yourself if like you're if you don't think that they're gonna actually see it like on LinkedIn. But it is interesting that like a lot of people want like ROI, and that's always hard with like content. And like I don't, especially video or maybe even ghostwriting, like to get like attribution has never been like an easy thing to solve with content. It's like everyone knows that you need to be out there, that it probably increases your sales cycle velocity. It probably makes you like more authoritarian, like more have more authority, but to actually prove it, unless you're using, I guess like a UTM link or something like that, it's not easy.
Yeah. So like an interesting thing about that is, and this was a mentor who like told me this, and I think he's correct. One of the things, and there was actually like three, maybe even four ghostwriters in that program that he was coaching us on, and it was very much about like signing enterprise clients at like higher ticket prices, right? Is very much about yeah, like enterprise clients, higher ticket clients, had a lot of sales elements to it, and kind of like setting up your agency in a way where it's going to start making a lot more sense. Like you're not closing those clients for 1,500 or 2,000 or even like this particular guy, Alex, who was the main mentor and coach in it, who had sold a creative agency for like $4 million. So the guy knows what he's talking about. He even thought that like 3K is low ticket.
Wow.
Like
That's
take
wild.
that in, right?
Yeah.
To him, like high ticket starts at like five K, you know, and true high ticket he would probably consider to be more like 10K and up,
Interesting.
which wild, right? Um, yeah. So, God, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, yeah. For ghostwriters specifically, because there was a three or four of them in the program, myself included, and something that he stressed with all the ghostwriters, especially this one guy who was like he had gone the very typical route that a lot of ghostwriters went, especially in like by 2025, is that they just kind of position themselves as like the lead gen ghostwriter, right? Where it's like we will we will actually book you calls with our content, or like then it can get even crazier than that. It can be like we will get you this many calls per month, like guaranteed and stuff. And it's like what Alex used to preach about in that regard is that you're really actually selling yourself short if that's how you're pitching ghostwriting. Because what you're really selling is like personal branding and like helping them build a brand that is like a long-term brand asset that has more value than just getting them leads tomorrow. Like, and you're also getting into some like, if you're actually promising like a guarantee of like this many book calls per month or something with ghostwriting, like I don't, I kind of don't care how good you are. I think you're also kind of putting yourself in a bit of a vulnerable position that's maybe a little bit unnecessary as well, um, because algorithms change. That's one thing. But also, I've spoken about this before. It's like if we just look realistically at what it takes to get to the point where you're booking like inbound calls off of content. Now, I guess it's different. Maybe if you're going to put an appointment setter in their DM and all of that as well, because then maybe you can guarantee it more. But if we're relying strictly on inbound, if we look like if I just even look like at what my own LinkedIn journey looked like, it's like the first 3 months are just kind of getting off the ground. Like you're just building your following a little bit, you're getting your engagement up, you're like learning what works on the platform, and you're making some friends in this. You maybe like you're kind of networking a little bit. You've probably gotten some feedback, some people who say like really love your content, stuff like this. That's what like the first 3 months look like. By month 6, like you might start getting some like some inbound leads and stuff like this, right? So promising that to your clients right off the bat, it just didn't seem like super realistic.
Yeah.
But more importantly, what we actually offer as a service is more valuable than just like leads, right? If that's truly what they want, if that's their main focus, and they don't want like the personal brand and the authority and like that long term leverage, I don't know, go with like a cold email service or something like this, or like if you got like enough money, go with some like paid ads agency where it's like that's all they do. It's all specifically designed to book calls. The personal branding, the ghostwriting, the video content might not be what you're actually looking for.
So do you think a lot of it has to do with like the psychology of the person that wants it? It's like you can kind of tell right away if they're like into like just getting leads and performance marketing and ads, or if they're like, oh, I know that a brand is going to serve me long term. It seems like right away there could be like people that are like, oh, this person fits like my worldview. Is that what you found? The ones that you've closed, or kind of just they see like content the way you see it, or you're trying to like convince them of the way you see it?
Yeah, no, most of them saw it pretty close to the way I needed them to see it. Like they probably already they already kind of saw it that way to a degree, you know.
Right.
Um, I don't know if I ever signed anybody who was like desperate for leads, because the ones who are like super desperate for leads, they also just don't have they normally don't have as strong of a business, the ones that are super desperate for leads.
Yeah.
And the
Makes
ones
sense.
who understand the value of a personal brand, and even like I've had prospects say on a call like, I understand that this is like, they have a very like sort of mature approach to it and stuff, where they've been like, I understand this is also going to take some time. Like, like I understand it's probably not going to be like just like leads right off the bat. Like it might take some time, and it's something that we build and that kind of thing. I've had prospects say that to me, right? Where it's not like I have to like tell them. It's good to tell your prospect that, your client that, that it might, that it's something you have to build into. But I've had prospects tell me that like, I understand it's going to take some time. I I'm not just I'm not just looking for leads. I also want to like build a brand, that kind of thing. If you're For ghostwriting specifically, I can tell you, if your prospect is telling you that, that's the type of client that you want. Someone with like realistic expectations like that, who also values the personal brand side of it, not just like the lead generation aspect of it. Because like, if they just want the lead generation aspect of it, I'm telling you, they're going for the wrong service. It's
Yeah.
more than that, and it's also more valuable than that.
Yeah. What about like as far as like your pricing goes? Like, are you trying to discover on your discovery call, figure out like if I don't know, maybe if they're carousel heavy and they want like 3 carousels a week, you're like, fuck, that's going to take me a lot of time to write these carousels or whatever. So I have to adjust my pricing to reflect that. Do you, or is it kind of more like just the same packages over and over again? Because it seems like that could be a bit of a problem too. Like if like you don't scope it out properly, you could end up in a hole.
Yeah. You gotta know your deliverables like ahead of time. And this is where like the experience of actually fulfilling on certain deliverables will tell you very quickly, oh, okay, probably need to adjust this actually, because yeah, like there is a big difference between 8 carousels a month versus like 12,
Right.
right? And I can tell you that back in 2025, I fell into like, because carousels were really, on the subject of carousels specifically. Carousels were really popular back then, and they worked really well back then. So I fell into kind of like a routine, like, or set of deliverables that a lot of time was like 8 carousels a month, plus like a mixture of like short form and kind of like long form in other formats, like some photo posts, that kind of thing. Um, Actually, it was a lot of long form stuff back then. But see, now it's changed. Like, now I'd say it's actually beneficial for clients to have more like short form content, text only content. Like, LinkedIn is a completely different ballgame than what it was a year ago.
Do you find too that like your clients will they're okay if like you're like, all right, I might do less carousels. I'm finding the text works better. Do you need to tell them that, or you just kind of just do your thing?
No, like now I would tell them like ahead of time, that we should do more text only. We should do less carousels. Like that, it's changed that much where I would almost have like a reverse approach. Maybe like now it's like 1 carousel a week or something, something along that line. And I think that also now a more tailored approach that kind of differs a little bit based on your client would work better for LinkedIn as well, because you need a little more flexibility just in terms of what is working now. It's not as honestly as cookie cutter as it was back in early 2025. It was more plug and play back then, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit. It seems like I don't know. It's like either comedy or AI content is like what works. It seems like at the moment, at least I've noticed. Like your
Yeah,
AI posts usually pop off, right? And then like your joking posts, like where you're fucking around, talking shit, pop off too. It seems like.
yeah. Yeah, another one that works as well. I actually saw a recent example of this, where this woman, like, on LinkedIn, I saw the post like literally yesterday. I commented on it. She had a very like it's a very this type of post works. I don't know if it's like amazing for your reputation. Maybe it will be maybe good with some people, but you will have some people who really like, who don't like your stance. She just made like this massive sweeping generalization saying that like all, or like mostly all influencers and like creators who sell courses are scammers.
Damn.
And then went on to like,
That's hilarious.
just talk about that and like, the $49 like course culture or whatever and this and that. It's like, what are you like? Obviously, yes, there are, but this was not the language she used.
This
So
is
she didn't like,
generalization.
she didn't use any sort of like real um, hedging or like explanation type language to say like, listen, I understand not all course creators are like this. Like she didn't really have anything like that, which is hilarious too, because like I called her out on it. I had a pretty I was pretty straight ahead. I was like, this is a bullshit take. That was my
Damn.
first line. I'm like, this is a BS take, and I don't even sell an online course. And then I went on to basically say every industry has scammers. Okay, and like basically saying and every industry also like and course is like any other industry. It's just another product that you can either buy or not buy, right? But every industry has scammers. It's a free market, and yeah, like she's making a huge sweeping generalization like that. But anyway, that is another post format that also seems to work. Is lean into a contrarian opinion. Um, and actually, I think it's best if it is not satire. Like you can have elements of humor in it, but you should actually stand on what you're saying, So, and I mean, you could do that with AI, you could do that with like all sorts of different subjects. You could attack an entire industry and say that everybody who creates online courses is a scammer. In fact, I was going to kind of mock I was going to mock that woman today in a LinkedIn post. I was already drafting it out, and I was going to take her. I took her post. I already drafted it out, and and I made it. I turned it into a template, and I was going to go like new viral LinkedIn template just dropped, and I would take her post and put like placeholders and turn it into a template and say,
That's
you
funny.
know, insert industry name are all a bunch of scammers. There, I said it. And it's just got like placeholders throughout it. If they tell you you can get desired result, da 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 da, without like action for the price of like insert price, and then I was going to say NPS. This works on all industries, but Bolton Marketing is not responsible for turning your comment section into a war zone. Use responsibly or something like this. I don't know. Maybe I still will. I'm just not sure if I want that kind of drama on a Friday.
That shit's kind of funny though.
It is funny, and I can. She'd probably end up seeing it because, like, I know the way that the LinkedIn algorithm kind of works these days is like if you're using similar keywords to somebody, there's a good chance they will like see your posts. Like if they're always talking about AI and responding to AI posts and stuff like this on the subject of AI, they're probably and you write a post about AI, there's a good chance they will see it. Um, I've seen this play out. So if I like literally template her post,
Right.
she's gonna see it.
Here's how to make a squad skill on on some bullshit.
Yeah, and if I really wanted to also play up the humor, callback humor as well, I could say, I'm thinking about turning this into a $47 course. Let me know if you guys would be interested because
I think there is some truth to like I think that when people have like these you see it sometimes on Substack too. Like I work like 2 hours a day and make 50K a month or whatever. Some like crazy ass claims or whatever. And we don't really know I think we've talked about this in the past. That's not verifiable for one. So like really anyone could say any bullshit and then if it does back into like a course or whatever, like then that is the product, this dream that they're selling for this course or whatever. So I'm always a little bit skeptical. I think that like if they have these kind of grandiose promises, of like, you don't have to work and you're going to make a shitload of money. Usually it's like bullshit for, or or maybe they've had it, but who knows the whole story of how they got there. Maybe they had, I don't know, a wealth of money and they use fucking ads to build the business, or maybe their margins are shit. Who fucking knows, right? But like I think that part of it is interesting when people are like selling a dream. I'm kind of like a little bit more aware of it, I think, because we're in the content game. That you're like, all right, is this bullshit or is it real? And like, I don't know if there's really any way of knowing. Obviously, I mean, there's signs, I suppose, but
Yeah, so like so many things. Yeah, so many things on that. Like, I guess like number one, let's just go ahead and say it's like a Gumroad course or something like this. I know that's one platform where you can sell a course, right?
yeah,
Don't they have like some very flexible refund policy where
honestly, yeah,
it's it's like I'm not even sure about this, but like can't you literally with the click of a button just get like a refund on a lot of courses, especially if they're on something like a Gumroad? So that's one thing. Uh, I mean, I guess some people probably have like a no refunds policy on a course or
you're right.
that kind of thing. Um, I guess another thing about it is how long will you really be able to sell a course if it was just complete garbage when there's also like a review section and all that, right?
Yeah,
You're not going to be able to like you're not going to get good reviews from people if you're selling an absolute
garbage.
garbage course. And this is actually one of the arguments I kind of made with her is that she's just trying to paint an entire like not even an industry. It's just actually a type of product or certain type of person archetype that she tried to like basically say like influencers and creators who create courses are mostly scammers, right? And part of my argument was a lot of the time the reason why somebody actually creates a course, like, and let's look at somebody like Talon, for example, Talon and Dale, which full transparency, I don't even think I've ever like purchased a course from them. However, I have purchased, high ticket coaching and consulting from Dakota, who's pretty much they're all part of the same like business anyway, right? Um, so I mean, like, granted, I actually do personally lean more towards coaching and consulting and less towards courses, right? But part of the reason why people might have a $47 course is because not everybody can afford a $5,000 high ticket coaching program. So
Yeah,
if you want to open up who you can sell to, and maybe even open it up to like other parts of the world where their currency is not the American dollar or the Great British Pound or the Swiss franc, then you might have a $47 course because it allows you to package up some of your information into something that people around the world can afford, right? Um, like I don't know for a fact if Dakota's ever launched a paid course. I think usually what he's done is he's given it away for free, but had it be like a lead magnet that, probably encourage people to like take the next step and book a call if they were actually interested in like the real product, which is the coaching and consulting, which obviously is a more valuable product, coaching and consulting. Like it's 10 out of 10 times it's always more valuable because and if it wasn't, oh my god, you got some big issues going on because it's always going to be more valuable because you're getting tailored help, right, for where you are specifically from this coach, right? And even if it's in a group coaching setting where multiple people are asking questions, it's it's massively valuable and you learn from other people asking questions too. Plus a lot of time now they have a community aspect, which is quite possibly I think the community is maybe one of the most valuable things now. I'm
yeah, I
sure
agree.
you probably agree,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, even with Growth Ghost, like I met you there, Kelsey, like Taylin, I met so many people through there, Vincenzo. The list goes on. I mean, I'm friends with so many people from there that like I mean, we talked about this before the call. I'm sad that it's over if that is the case. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, the good news. The, oh, look who's on the call. Elena.
What's up, Lena?
Speak of the devil. I didn't know she was here. Maybe she's been here this entire time. Um, yeah, the good news is it looks like it's going to kind of continue to some degree on like a weekly basis. With it looks like you know Stefan Stefan P like Putnik or something. I think is the last name.
The Austrian guy.
Yeah, he kind of like stepped in there and kind of was like, I could do a. I'm gonna do a little impression of his voice. I could do a weekly call or something. So he kind of just stepped up and was like, yeah, like I could be a moderator or something like this. We could continue doing like a weekly call or something. I like personally just hadn't had a lot of time, like obviously since Dakota like announced this literally on the call. It wasn't something I had thought about. Like, so I didn't really want to like volunteer myself too much
True.
because I'm just not. I'm not. I'm trying to be very careful with my time these days. You know, like not just agree to things that I'm not actually going to be able to deliver on.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that the I've seen like the network itself is so valuable. I got a guy right now, Jake Summers
Oh yeah, I like Jake.
from Growth Code. You know him, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Mango.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mango Tango, which now he just wrote an entirely different book, eh?
The
And
hell?
he actually just he sent it over to me. He sent it over to me today, and I emailed him over my novel, right? Which is on like manuscript two. Let's call it like draft two. And so I just emailed that over to him. He emailed over his, and now we're both like kind of beta reading each other's books. And like how valuable is that? Like this guy's an actual
Author.
author, man. This guy's an actual writer. I just read the first couple pages of his book there, and I'm like, already, just from briefly reading it in the back of an Uber, I'm like, oh shit, like this is actually pretty good, man. Like, I already got that feeling like the setup and everything was really good. I'm actually excited to read more of it.
It's kind of
So
got a vibe
yeah,
like yours too, where he's like in a foreign country. I think he like bought like he like lost a real estate transaction or something like that. Lost I think like over $1 million from what I remember. I talked to him once, and like I was like, this story is fucking nuts, man. Like this, like building a business in like Vietnam or wherever it was.
yeah, I think it was
Cambodia.
Cambodia.
Cambodia. Cambodia. Yeah.
So it's the story of like a Cambodia mango farm and this and that, and how like I think he had been in like the private equity or finance space or something like that, and then he like found himself through a turn of events or whatever, like some opportunity came up of like investing in some Cambodian mango farm, and he went into it with some partner, and then they had like this Cambodian woman who also joined them, I think it's like part of the
Partner or something.
partnership or whatever, and she ended up like screwing them over, something like that. But um that's not the book that he sent me,
Oh,
just
interesting.
to
Okay.
clarify. Because what he did is he wrote that whole book, right, Mango Tango, but he wrote that as like a kind of a travel memoir style, only to discover through his research that apparently the travel memoirs, there's a much smaller market for that style of book. So he he then went and just wrote an entirely different book that has nothing to do with Cambodia, nothing to do with mango farms, and is not based off of his like true story. So Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's cool though that you guys
Yeah.
actually met up to that community and like have now you guys are buddies and you can kind of run work past each other. So that's what I really like about the community aspect is just being able to like when I'm struggling with like sales shit, being able to ask you or like when I'm like I don't know if it's something that involves money or getting paid up front or whatever. It's nice to hear other people's opinions because I feel like when you're doing it all alone, it's just like you don't really have any unless it's you're asking like AI, like you don't really have many people to like run shit off of.
Yeah, man. I can like I can just name off some people off the top of my head, right? That I speak to on like a weekly basis. Okay. Number one, the one who really has my heart is the one in this chat, Alina. No. No, but we actually do talk a lot on Instagram and stuff like this. Yourself, we talk every week. We do this
Yeah.
call. Kelsey, we do this call every week. Gage, my buddy Gage, I talk to Gage almost like every day. We've never met in person.
He
We
kills
talk
it
on
in sales, right?
Instagram. Yeah, he's a sales guy. I actually tried to bring him in for my ghostwriting business and have him be a sales closer. All I'll say in that regard is that like if you don't have lead gen figured out, and I mean when I say figured out, I mean like clockwork. If you don't have like I'd say minimum like 10 sales calls coming in like clockwork every week, don't get a don't get a closer. Like you're just not going to have enough for them there, right?
Right.
And that was the issue. Is like I didn't have lead gen figured out enough to the point where it made sense to have him. So it was a bit of a fumble overall. But he's a guy who we have that level of trust and a relationship where I actually was trying to bring him in to my business, right?
How would
Then I
that
got
have
my
what
buddy.
if that worked out? How would that have been structured out of curiosity?
Uh, well, because he is a good buddy, I said to begin with I was going to bring him in as a closer, and then we came up with some deal that if he could help me get to, I think it was like if he could help me add an extra like 20,000, like 20,000 of revenue or something like this, that we were then going to consider a partnership, like full like 50-50 split.
Oh
Because I
wow.
the way I saw it is like, yeah, if you can help me add an extra like 20K of revenue at that point, man, you've earned you've shown me why you're like super valuable. And at that point, like if we're making, that kind of money, it's like, let's just scale this up. And because we're buddies, I want us both to win. That was my
Yeah.
thinking, right?
Right. Makes sense.
You know, sometimes these things though on paper or the dream that you might want, sometimes they don't always work out that way. But like I was saying, if you don't have like if you don't have like 10 consistent sales calls coming in like clockwork every week, don't consider a closer. You're much better off to do it yourself until you're at that point. Um, anyway, I got my buddy Anselmo. He's here in Paraguay. I've met Thomas Ball in person in Argentina. Met Dakota in person, Talon in person, Dale in person. Met all three of them twice. One time in Panama, one time in Medellin, Colombia. I've met Sarah Larson in person back in Canada. Uh, yeah, the amount of relationships I've created or I've gotten from the program. I speak to Kush regularly. Um, yeah, no,
His story
it's
is pretty
awesome, man.
impressive too. I mean, being from India and then having an 8K month is pretty fucking amazing. Like I saw that he had, I think in December like an 8K month, and like in India 8K is probably goes a long fucking way. I mean, he's fucking killing it. So when I heard that, I was
Yeah,
really proud of him. I mean, I know that he works his ass off and he's a pretty sharp guy. So it's cool to see that he like kind of made it through, which is nice to see because it seems like it'd be harder coming from like a third world country or a foreign country where money like you feel like probably odd saying a higher amount. I think you coached him through it. Like there's people that have like infinite wealth and then there's so many opportunities, and I think he probably had some limiting beliefs that he probably had to like shatter somehow.
Yeah, for sure. I think my theory on like the whole, let's say you're in a country like India, the Philippines, certain parts of Africa, uh, definitely, definitely, it's like South America actually as well. Like certain, especially certain parts. I would think it would be harder in the beginning. Once you get going, though, I think that there you also might have some advantages as well. Like one advantage that you do end up having, I think, is that you're you're living in a country where that money that you're earning goes like so much further, right? So yeah, like when Kush has an 8K USD month while living in India, I once
Cha-ching.
kind of I broke this down once in the community, kind of like to just like kind of show that like he was kind of earning the money that like to he was almost like you have a lifestyle in the US with what he was making that I just made some comparison. Like he definitely I think he can live well in India off of what he's making in ghostwriting. And the thing about Kush too is he's actually such a nice guy and such a genuine guy that you want Kush to win, honestly.
He's doing what I saw with him too is he was doing a good job too of like kind of saying how his clients were winning. Like one guy ended up on the radio, one of his clients, and some of his clients' posts have gone viral. I feel like that is always the best. Like if you have such strong social proof or like these stories that your clients tell you that those wins, that's gold. I mean, it's hard to get like because like unless you like remind them, tell me what happened. Is it did anyone say anything from your content this week or whatever? That feedback loop I find to be hard to get, but it's invaluable to like feed that back to the market if you can.
Yeah, I once heard actually Daniel Fazio from Client Ascension talk about it sort of as like a he said that a marketing agency is just like a testimonial and like case study testimonial case study like flywheel that like your main job or like the most optimized the way an agency really should work is that you're getting results for your clients, but then you just like always ask for those testimonials and get and case studies and stuff, and you're just constantly turning that into your content, and then it becomes this reciprocal flywheel of like the results you get become the testimonials and case studies, which get you more clients, and then you get results for those clients, and then their case studies and testimonials become the content, which gets you more clients, which then gets you more results for those clients, which then gets you the case studies and testimonials, and it just like goes around in this like this flywheel. It's like that he explained is how a marketing agency should ideally work and how they should like market themselves, which you can't argue against that. That is like 100% true. And even from a content standpoint, part of your content strategy should look like that, regardless of what the algorithm is doing.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter if even if only like 10 potential qualified prospects saw your case study post, all you need is for one of them to like be like, okay, yeah, this is actually interesting. I'm going to send this guy a message, or I'm at least going to like engage with this post or something, right? So,
Yeah, everything's kind of changing too with I don't know if you've heard of this thing called GEO. Like you have search engine optimization, but now you have this new thing with like generative GEO. That whole thing is interesting because the AI will start pulling. I think like I noticed that like I had reviews on my LinkedIn, like people like text reviews, and I think it'll start pulling information from the profile and start serving it up to you, like because it's looking for stuff online that you've written or people have written about you, and it's like pulling that information. So like it's interesting. There's that, but I do
Yep.
feel like a video testimonial is a little bit more powerful than text if you can. But they're both powerful.
Yeah, video testimonials can absolutely work. And you can put a video testimonial as well into a video sales letter, like a VSL. You know much about them?
A little bit, yeah. I've done like one in the past. Me and a buddy did like a podcast cohort where we trained a couple founders, like three founders, to do like a podcast over 8 weeks with like a full like kind of community course kind of shit. And me and my buddy at the time did like a VSL for that project. We only signed up like three people, but two of the three people actually ended up starting podcasts, and one ended up being like a long term client. So it worked out, but it was a lot of work for what it was.
Yeah. Okay. That was that a paid thing or
Yeah,
sorry?
it was like $1,500 a person, and then like yeah, we had like three founders come through it, and actually two of the three founders ended up being long term customers. So like that was what was interesting, is that from like a flat or from like a lead gen perspective, it worked. I ended up managing one of the guys' podcast, and then the other guy I helped him with like short form content, and he hired someone else to actually do the podcast. But it was interesting because it gave me the opportunity, and there could be something there for ghostwriting there too, like where like I don't know, like you have some sort of cohort thing that you teach people, and then there's like kind of like like a natural upsell at the end of it, because like, hey, like I don't necessarily want to go out and do all this shit that you just showed me, like how to use, like kind of like what you said with like maybe teaching people how to use Claude and how to use like how to write, how to build skills in Claude, how to do these creative briefs projects so that it learns how to write like you teach them all these things over the course of I don't know, a couple weeks, and at the end of it they're like, fuck, this is way too much fucking work, Mike, let me just hire you. So I think that there is opportunities for stuff like that, but I found it to be a lot of, even though I did close a couple of accounts from it, I just found it to be a lot of work to get the thing like going. We built like a landing page that was actually built by Farouk, and it was in like yeah, it was in Webflow. We built it. It was a really nice landing page that he built. I thought it would get more results than it got. I mean, I was happy with the three people, but I was hoping like for like 10 or more or whatever, but it didn't work out that way.
Well, I mean, no, even three is not bad, man. Like you said, three, right?
Yeah, it's three. Yeah,
Yeah, three at $1,500 a pop with two of them becoming customers. Like that's kind of interesting. Like that's kind of actually an amazing way of showing people your service and onboarding new clients.
I thought about
Um,
it too. Yeah, I think there's something there for you too, like for ghostwriting. I don't know what that would
yeah,
look like, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe even like a community aspect to it or something. Yeah, where it's like kind of what Dakota did. Maybe it's like a reasonable fee per month to be a part of the community.
yeah, yeah, man. There's so much that you could do.
Yeah,
There's
you
so
guys are.
much you could do. You just have to like. I was actually telling somebody else this. It's like it's kind of an energy thing, though. It's like you only have so much energy, and I find that like heart, if your heart and mind are really not in something, it's very hard to find the energy to do it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Originally, I was
like
actually only trying to launch podcasts with people, and then I found that a lot of people didn't want to launch podcasts, but they wanted to get on video, and that's how I ended up doing that pivot. So like, not that I'll still do podcasts, but at the same time, I just found that this other offer, like they don't need a series to do the thing. The nice part about podcasts is since they are like a series, usually they'll want to do more than 20, 30, 40, 50 or whatever. So that it has like a nice little built-in revenue thing. But I found that like not everyone wanted to start a podcast, but a lot of people wanted to get on video. So like that's kind of like how I ended up starting to map out that thing.
do people who want to run a podcast, do they need ongoing help in any
Yeah.
way?
Yeah. So a lot of founders that like want to run a podcast, they just want to like show up for like the interview, and then they don't want to deal with like all the back end work of like, all right, I need to trim the beginning when they were chatting. I need to like trim the end because like there was an awkward moment or whatever else. There could be some like latency in the recording where like it needed to be cleaned up or whatever. So and then I would upload that to like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and then work with their designer to get their artwork, and then cut some clips for the episode to send to them. And a lot of those clips too usually are reshared. I found that something like over 50% of the clips I for my buddy Tristan's podcast were reshared by people that I would clip something on LinkedIn, and then people, his guests, would reshare it because they're making them look good. So it's a nice way to like tap into like another market. But yeah, I found that a lot of these busy founders, they don't have time to do that shit. But if they see the value in it, it could definitely be like a recurring, ongoing thing to kind of handle it, that back end kind of work. You know, like creating the title for the thing too, like the episode notes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it seems like there'd be a lot of work with people who either want to start a podcast or who have an existing podcast.
Yeah.
Especially those who have like a podcast, but maybe they just don't like fully have it together. Like it could be much better. Now, some some people don't really edit their podcasts, right? Like
Yeah.
some it's more just like live off the floor. Whatever we say, it stays. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like how you and I and Kelsey, how we do these lives. Like, if I really put my foot in my mouth, it is what
Fucking
it is.
yeah. I actually worked on it. I worked on a show actually for this company like for like 30 hours a week. They were paying me like 75 grand to work 30 hours a week, and they were cool with me having my own side project. So I did it for like 7 months, but this company, like, I was basically on the back end of like StreamYard with them. Like, so what would happen is like we had like an intro, like a 30-second intro for the show. I'd roll that intro, we'll hit live, roll that intro of like their beginning credits, and then bring on the guy onto the show, and he would do his introduction, and then I'd bring on the guest, and they're like, all right, roll that commercial in the middle of the thing. So I was kind of like acting like a live, like, um, person on the back end that was running the show. It was stressful as fuck because, like, I don't know, like, you're dealing with the CEO there, and you're kind of orchestrating to make sure that everything goes right, like ending the thing, and all right, cool, we're done, or whatever. And then I would go cut clips from it. I think there's room for things like that too. Like, I mean, that guy paid me that much money just to run his show and cut clips for it or whatever. So like, you got to think that like other people are willing probably to pay good money to do this stuff if they're into it. And he was just really into podcasting. He had like a IT business that backed into it. But I think that like that there's definitely opportunities there. It's just finding them. You know, like these people that are like really successful CEOs that have multi-million-dollar businesses, they don't fucking want to like go in there and deal with like uploading this thing and like just cutting clips and things like that.
Yeah, like I think the question is like how many existing podcasts are there out there that are currently not chopping up their podcast and turning it into short form video clips to promote the actual show? Cuz
Yeah.
like how do you promote the show? There's only like one of the main ways to promote the show is through
Clips.
short form video clips.
Yeah.
So like it seems like a prime market for your service would be finding people with the existing podcasts where your question for them is just like, are you guys currently like promoting the show with short form video clips? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that could
And
be great for
some would
sure.
be like, yeah, we are. And some would be like, no, we're not. No, we're not. And they might want the growth and they might be using it even as like a form of, you know, kind of like lead gen, like kind of like the same way we do with like LinkedIn and stuff, where it's like it's a long-term play. Like they're putting it on YouTube. Actually, it's kind of not so much a long-term play. I've actually heard that YouTube seems to be so good that a lot of people do get leads from YouTube.
Interesting.
I should be on YouTube.
You
I don't
should
know what I'm doing.
you should make some videos on YouTube. I found that like I did some recording last night, and it's always a pain in the ass because you got to get the gear out and like lighting and all this shit, and like it's work. You know, like the lighting in itself is a fucking bitch. Like so like but like I ended up recording some videos last night, and some of them will get like 1,000 views, and I only have like 63 subscribers on YouTube. So if it's a short, YouTube will definitely push it, and then you could, you know, put it on YouTube and then see how it does there, throw it on LinkedIn after. The video I made last night was all about it's actually, I had a drum teacher a long years back, and he told me basically that I kind of identified with someone that had anxiety, and the whole point of the video is like if I replace the word anxiety with excitement, it's all the same feelings in your body, where like, you know, faster heartbeat, adrenaline, but the way I'm going to react to the situation, if I say that it's anxiety, is I'm going to go internal and start doubting myself. Whereas if I say it's excitement, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be like, all right, like what's the possibilities here? I'm going to feel different. I'm going to get different results. So that was the video last night that I recorded, but it's kind of fun, like just to go out and just quickly just kind of sketch out an idea, record it, throw it on like YouTube and just see how it does. They do pretty well on LinkedIn too, like videos, I would say. So I think that you're naturally good on video. It's just a matter of like recording them and getting in the habit of doing that. I tend to record at night, so it's just I'm usually kind of tired by the end of that. But I have to like make myself like aware, like, all right, I'm gonna record tonight and make sure that I don't like, you know, give myself enough energy to actually get it done.
Yeah, I think like video, it just comes with a whole bunch of like other things, or at least this is my understanding of it or my perception of video is that, and probably the reason why I don't do enough of it. I feel like it's more storage space. It's I don't want to say it takes up more time. I think that if you're good with like the off the cuff style, I think in some ways it can almost save you time. Like it, you could probably whip out a video faster than you could write a LinkedIn post in some cases, right?
Yeah,
Um, but I think it's like it's storage space, it's proper lighting. If you're going to do edits, then it's like having an editor and stuff like this. But like, if I'm entirely honest, I should probably like be doing video in almost like multiple different domains. Like, I mean, I should have a YouTube channel where I talk about ghostwriting. And I should probably have another one, even though I don't spend as much time on it these days. It's just such a big part of my life that I should probably have another one that's about like travel and food.
yeah.
Like,
A-
but like both of those.
Anthony Bourdain style.
Exactly, because it's such a big thing for me, right? And then like that works as well because I think that the style of like fiction novel that I've discovered I really like writing is kind of like, or one theme anyway. The theme of my main book is like foreign traveler enters a country and like sort of discovers the criminal underbelly below the surface level in this, but doesn't fully understand it, and it's going on in the background. So yeah. But video is like the most. It's one of the most effective ways to communicate an idea.
Yeah,
Um,
what's cool about YouTube is if you do the short, they'll push it to anyone, regardless of how many subscribers you have. So if it's good, it'll just get pushed, which is cool. And then you could actually
that
you could actually get subscribers. Like I had a short that went out like a couple weeks ago, and I got 2 subscribers for the short. So the interesting thing is that those people find you, and then when you get like a longer form piece, which I haven't really been playing around, that's when I think you get like real deep, and then probably the conversion happens because the top of the funnel they find you. The longer form, if they're watching like a 10-minute video of you, they're probably like, okay, if that person watched 90% of it, they're probably likely to eventually convert into something.
and are you like, do you plug anything in your like description back on your like homepage or?
Video Ghost is plugged on the homepage. But yeah, I probably should do a little bit better job. I don't really do like much pitching in any of the videos. I kind of just do like there's not I don't want to say there's not a strategy, but a lot of it's just stuff that's happening in life or whatever that I'm kind of just like fuck it, I'm just gonna record this particular thing. Um, but I kind of also need to be in the video game too because if I'm selling videos to like other founders and things like that, like I kind of need to know what's working and like how it's working on LinkedIn versus YouTube, and I need to actually probably start doing it again on like Instagram, some of the reels. I just don't want to. A lot of my Instagram following is like just friends, like on my current Instagram. So I kind of want to spin up another one so that I'm not annoying just friends and family that are on there to not see that shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Um, yeah. It can just to play devil's advocate on that for a second. I totally do understand like dividing it up a bit. There's also kind of a point where you can divide social media like too much. Like I even with my Substack at one point I was thinking about creating like a whole separate like danger in the valley like Substack. I was asking about this even in Heartbeat, right? Like a Substack just for that one
Look,
book, right?
right.
I kind of like ended up not going that route and just having like a danger in the valley like newsletter, which is important, like separate newsletter, and that's good because like the reality is there's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
So if you divide things up too much, you're just never gonna do it. Like all these separate channels. Oh, I got one that's like a food blog. I got this one here that's like my personal private Instagram page. I got this one here that's just for my ghostwriting business. I got this like you're gonna overwhelm yourself. Um,
I could see you killing it though with the long form content too. Like that's something I haven't really explored too much yet, long form video content. But I do want to get there to some point where I'm like, I'm just kind of getting all my setup dialed in, and at some point I'll start making probably longer videos. They won't be like highly edited or anything, but just deeper on subjects.
do you just recommend people like film video with their phone or what?
Yeah, I mean, if it's
What's
just if,
typically?
if it's just you, like you could totally get away with just like a your phone. You're an Android user, is that what you use?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you just use your phone and then like get like a little lav mic. They have ones that Rode has ones called Micro that just plug into the back of your phone and they're super easy to set up. And then they have something called the Capture app, where you could actually see that the mic is plugged in to your phone, and then from there, it's almost like a its own recording system. It's like they have an app and you can see your mic, your video, and you just hit record. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I do have a different camera too for like when I want like more like higher end. It's like a Sony A7 IV, and it has like a teleprompter um, sitting on the
Mm.
lens of it. So like that's if I want like more like kind of cleaner looking things. But I guess you can kind of depending. I also have like professional lights too. So I think it just depends like on like where you want to go with it. And even like the room I'm in now, it's like hard to get good lighting because I have a lot of windows in this room and there's like light bounces around during the day, so I can't even record during the day because it would just get all washed out or whatever. So kind of it that's why I record it at night or whatever. But there's definitely like whole systems of like 3 point lighting and shit where like I don't know, it's I almost had to like kind of play around with like lighting for a while and then the kind of settings on the camera to kind of get like the right look and feel. So it's definitely not. I think the lighting part is just as important as it really just depends what you're trying to do though. If like you're just trying to get something out and test ideas, it doesn't really matter. But like if you want like to step up the game to like have like a certain feel and look, then definitely like having a couple lights is probably helpful too. But it's probably different for you since you travel so much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely something. Yeah.
You get
Uh,
something like this, just like a little just key light, or I don't know, a little tiny light that could sit on your desk. I have that one right there.
that's right. Like, yeah, no, even like a ring light or whatever is honestly probably enough, right?
Yeah, or just like a window. Like you could even like use like
Mm,
like a window as your key light if you have that.
yeah.
A lot of it's just like I don't know if like you have a window here and here, like if you could find a way to block out one of the windows and just use the natural light for what's coming in, you could do that too. So I think it's just getting creative with like your light sources and whatnot. And there's
You're
something
just
called like,
using natural lighting now, right?
yeah, it's just like natural lighting now. So
Yeah.
kind of sitting next to a window, and then I have this tiny light right there. But I also have like, I don't know if you can see it, but that big ass light. There's that rig right there. But yeah, I have like, I have a bunch of different shit. I feel like you kind of just explore like some like tube lights. If like you wanted like a music video feel to it, like you could set up like a tube light and then put the set or the color on like a different color and like have it like have your branding elements. So lighting can get like really fun, but it's definitely like something that you could spend hours doing. A lot of people say to set up like the light like at a 45-degree angle, and then you'll end up with like a triangle on one side of your face. It's called like Rembrandt lighting. Um, and then you'll have, so that's called your key light, and then you'll have like a fill light to kind of on the shadow part of the face. It'll help out with that. So there's definitely like systems and things that you could look into for it. But even just like a window or something is fine.
Yeah. I wonder if I was to do video, where I would invest my time first, because there's like,
Probably the shorts because those are
um,
less work for your part. Like, and you can get some good views too. Because if it's under a minute, it's not going to take you that long.
yeah, but yeah, probably, probably ghostwriting, like just from an ROI standpoint,
Right.
because like with say if I did it for like the fiction novel or something, it's like I could, right, but probably the ghostwriting is the best ROI, because like all you need is one prospect to see that who's interested, and it's like
Yeah.
potential client, right? So I'd probably start with something like that.
Yeah, you should, man. You kill it. Yeah, I think
You
you're
don't see a
actually,
lot of ghostwriting content on YouTube. That's another thing. Like I don't really see a lot of people talking about ghostwriting, and if they do, it's usually I've found it's the Nicholas Coles and the Dakota Robertsons and this who are selling
courses.
ghostwriting coaching,
Right.
not done for you ghostwriting. So
I see Nicholas come up a lot on Instagram and on YouTube. He does a good job, man. He's pretty sharp guy too.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
you're talking about like you want ghostwriting clients, not like teaching ghostwriters, right? If you're doing a YouTube, or
yeah.
what's your goal?
Mostly, I have taught some ghostwriters and stuff, and that's been fun at times. But yeah, of course, the done for you retainers are really where it's at.
Yeah, 100%. Anyways, I got a jam, but are you down? I'll see you next Friday.
Yeah, man. Same time,
All right,
same
man.
channel.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, this was fun. See you guys. Bye.
Later.